WSOU 89.5 FM. I'm Valentino, and I'm joined today with Howard Jones of Light the Torch. How are you doing today?
Doing good, doing good.
Good stuff. Well, your brand new album, You Will Be the Death of Me, is out now, available everywhere. Super, super exciting stuff. How are you feeling?
Good. Just, it's finally out, and now I can breathe, and now I don't know what to do with myself. Oh yeah, I do. I'll just do some more stuff. Yeah, but it's nice to finally have it, out of our back pocket.
Now, I know with the pandemic, a lot of bands have had to wait on releases before releasing them. They could write them years ago, but then had to kind of sit on it for a year. How long have you been sitting on this record?
We had finished recording it literally a week before we had started touring with August Burns Red and Killswitch Engage. So, and that, I think we did 2 shows and then everything stopped. So yeah, we finished recording right when everything broke down. So we got to take that time to mix and master it.
And I know that the mixing and mastering process can be difficult under non-pandemic times, because okay, should that be louder? Should that be softer? I'm sure with the pandemic, because it's all through emails, you're not actually in the same room as people. That's got to be extra tedious and frustrating.
Yeah, it was a little different, but it worked out, but it definitely dragged out for a while. Yeah, it took way longer than normal, but I kind of accepted that. Just everything was weird. Everything's still weird. So.
Yeah. Now, how does it feel that there's a light at the end of the tunnel now? Shows are being announced. It's getting exciting. Tours are being planned. Finally, we're almost out of it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'm still a little cautious, still a little trepidation,
Yeah.
just because it's still there. COVID's still here, so we'll see. Hopefully, there's not some crazy sweep through the country and everything shuts down. So hopefully, yeah, we'll be, getting back into the groove.
Exactly. And another question that I kind of wanted to ask you is, with this release being the second of Light the Torch, was this all right? So with a sophomore album, there's a lot of pressure because it's the sophomore record. It could be a sophomore slump, or it could be a huge release, and a lot of bands are very scared about that second record. But because you guys were formerly The Devil You Know, did this feel like a second record, or did this kind of feel like a fourth record?
It was definitely a second record. It's 2 completely different entities, but I don't know. I didn't really think about that. I know that's a thing. It's just we were dealing with so much that was not on my mind at the moment. Just life was hard enough. So if that would have came up too, I would have just I would just said, okay, I'm done. I can't take this.
Exactly. And now when you play these songs live, finally, you've done it at a live stream, with the album release party. Was it almost a little weird to play these songs live? Because again, you haven't touched them in probably a year.
Yeah, it was very, I mean, it's cool because, you got your guys with you, the band's there, but you're playing to an audience of dudes with cameras, it's just okay, this is not not getting the feedback you're used to. It's better than band practice, but it's the worst show ever. So it was fine. We had fun.
Yeah. No, you're right. You don't get that audience applause after every song. There's no energy hyping you up. It's just kind of you play and then you're done, and then there's just silence. And that's got to be very weird.
Well, at the end, when everyone puts their equipment down, you give you a little clap. So there's that. That was pleasing.
And Was it kind of weird because obviously when you're doing like a normal show, you interact with the crowd a lot, you know, you engage with the crowd. Engaging with cameras, like, could you do what you usually had to do? Would you had to like overcome a lot of like weird, like almost like stage presence sort of stuff?
No, it, for the most part, the cameras didn't really play that much of a role. But you know, a lot of times I kind of play off of people, so you know, the camera doesn't have much to say. So you know, that takes the give and take away. You know, so but it was still fine. You know, I to be somewhere doing something with someone, kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah. And again, like, because you can send a million emails back and forth, but like to actually like play something, it feels like, okay, you know, we're finally promoting this the way, you know, it feels normal, kind of. It feels
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it felt normal for a very short period of time, and then right back to what it was.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
because here we are, still waiting
And I know that typically when bands drop records, they have to like tour on it. Is it weird to like drop this record and just kind of be like, all right, well, back inside again, you know, like,
again. Yeah, I mean, it is, but you know, just kind of roll with it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
you know, we're not the only ones who've released stuff, and you know, we've had to sit on our heels a bit. You know, it's just what is today, but it's out and looks like things are starting to energize again. So we'll see.
So on a personal note, I'm a huge Light the Torch fan. I love all your projects, and I personally think that "You'll Be the Death of Me" is way better than Revival. I think it's like I loved Revival, but every single song on this record is just incredible. When you're writing this in the studio, give me some insight into any recording stories you have, anything like how did you write these songs kind of in that studio process?
Um, it's one of those things where once we decide we're going to do it, it's you know, everything kind of goes away. It's it's just you know, you get up, you know, I get up in the morning, I'm writing or rewriting, you know, and kind of just waiting to get back in the studio and try more ideas, and so it's just full on consumption, and it's kind of not as lonely anymore because Francesco's kind of the same way. He's just like me. When it's time to write an album, you just kind of dive in, and it's like diving into a pool, and you're just not going to see the surface for a while. So it's a very very deep, noisy pool. But I enjoy that, but it's stressful. But I love it. I still get this crazy joy out of trying to come up with stuff, you know. And I'd say if there's a story, it's probably I remember walking in and we were towards the end, and I'm just looking at the board, and as I walk in, I'm like, okay, guys, we just got to wipe off 4 of these songs. It's just I can't do this anymore. I'm going to it's like because it really is this obsessive thing,
Yeah.
and some of the songs are just you're working and reworking, and it just yeah, it got to the point where we had to start whittling down even more. And I just remember that day watching some songs disappear and going, "Oh my God, this feels so good to watch songs go away." But it's not that the songs were bad; it's just
Yeah.
that the vocals and lyrics were. um,
And you're right. Like, if you're not putting, like, if you're like, okay, these songs aren't the best representation of what I can do as a lyricist and a vocalist, like, it's gonna, like, you're gonna like, feel a little weird about it, you know. Whereas if you have like a collection of 12 songs that are the best you've done, you know, this is your best work to date, and you feel that in your heart, that's better than putting out an album of 20 songs, you know, that are like, okay, 10 of them are great.
oh yeah, definitely got rid of some B sides. Let's just, I mean, who knows? Maybe they could be revisited. It's just what I was coming up with wasn't working. It and so yeah, I just had to let them go, and it felt wonderful. I'm like, okay, that's been the problem. I'm working on stuff that I'm just doing terrible at. Got rid of it. Oh, okay, this is good. So yeah,
We're in
that
a
was
good
kind of
spot now.
how.
Yeah.
Yeah, then just kind of focused on what was left, and that worked. So
Mm.
there was that story. So there's a handful of songs out there that are, who knows, maybe they'll be revisited, but as of right now, nah. I don't want to hear my voice on that stuff.
Yeah. You know, and I totally get it. Yeah, and like this new record, it's incredible. Speaking of the vocals on this new record, I have to ask, one of the things you've been known for is, your very commanding vocal presence. I feel like in every record, every project you've touched, you have a very, very strong and powerful voice. And I know that like with, singing, a lot of the power comes from like breathing techniques. As a vocalist, do you really, really practice your breathing techniques? Do you have any that you kind of work on?
No.
No. That's just how you sing.
So
That's amazing.
all right, all right, good talk. Yeah, no, I really should do that sort of thing, warm ups and things like that, but I kind of don't. Um, that's not something you should depend on. So anyone asking for advice on it, yeah, don't do what I do when it comes to that. Warm up, do those things. It's good.
That's so fascinating because like, the voice is like 100% like, you're not like focusing on your breath. It's just you're singing, it's in the moment. It's like, all right, here, that's so cool.
Yeah, I go by feel a lot. I was like, okay, that feels right. All right. So, and I just kind of do it that way. I know that's a very vague explanation for things, but yeah, you'd be surprised. It's like, oh, that feels right. Okay, I'll do it. So yeah, that's kind of the explanation for a lot of things. Like, oh, why are you doing that project? Feels right.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I'm not the most technical guy, but I do what feels right. And if it's technically sound, okay, well, I got lucky.
And like the audience can sense that, like when listeners and fans of Light the Torch hear this, they'll know, oh yeah, that feels right to us. Like we know what sounds like it's being forced and what is just naturally there.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I try.
So when it comes to songwriting, I do have to ask because you've worked with like multiple bands before. I believe this is your fourth, maybe fifth band that you've worked on. Every time you work on a new project, does it kind of feel like an entirely different experience, or do you still kind of feel like your songwriting is tailored the same throughout?
I think there's similarities, but at the same time, just got a group of different guys writing different music, so it's going to feel different, and so it's going to just have a different vibe, and it's just trying to figure out what vibe works right. Man, it's such vague words. So
No, I
I
get it. I love
apologize to
it.
anyone's listening to this. And it's just like, what's he even talking about? But yeah, some music has a more emotional sound, or a different edge to it, or what, I don't know. You just kind of feel it out and figure out what works. And that's part of the fun of playing with songs, is just figuring out what finally feels right. And I still get such a kick out of that. Just when you write something, and or you sing something, and it fits, it's just, that's such a good feeling.
Hmm. And like, because it's like the missing puzzle piece, the whole song, you're like, and I can imagine, especially like I haven't recorded a full length song, but I imagine from like an artist perspective, you lay down the drums, you lay down the guitar, you lay down the bass, then you lay down the
Mhm.
vocals. And so it's all these different puzzle pieces that are just slowly getting put together to make this one cohesive sound.
Yeah, it's mechanics, it's problem solving. It but I enjoy that. So I'll keep trying to do it for a while.
Well, good, good. this album, actually, You'll Be the Death of Me, was recorded in Sparrow Sound, California. Was that your first time at that studio, or?
No, we recorded Revival there too.
So
And
obviously that's a good spot to go then.
oh yeah, just Josh and Joseph are just good friends and super talented guys to work with, and just place just works for us, you know. And we're kind of at home there, so yeah, it was the right choice.
Yeah. And it's especially like when you recorded, Revival there, it almost feels like going back again is like a continuation of Light the Torch. Okay, we're in the same space, we're in the same physical space, like maybe different headspaces, but we're here to write this new record.
Yeah, and there was just a mood with all of that, and so when you walked in, it's like, okay, all right, we're doing this. It's like when you're there, it's just it's like, okay, we the talk is over. So, well, here goes a chunk of my life again. Yeah, it really is kind of um, it's kind of big when you look at because you're going to be missing anywhere from 3 to 6 months of your life just recording, writing and recording an album.
Yeah.
But I still get such nervous excitement. It's like getting a new puppy.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means.
No, I understand. Is that like nervous excitement of recording a record more nerve-wracking than releasing it, would you say?
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's the whole writing recording process. It's once it's out of my hands, I'm done. To me, it doesn't matter to me. That's like, okay, done. All right, what's next? So it's not that I don't care about it, but I'm constantly trying to look ahead. So yeah, once I release it, yeah, I'm probably not revisiting it.
It's almost like, all right, I've recorded it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's up to, I've done my part.
Yeah, it's like, oh, if you didn't, oh, maybe you'll like the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Maybe you'll like the next one. I like the work still. I really do.
Mm. And now another thing that I wanted to touch upon in this interview is I want to talk a little bit about your relationship with Killswitch Engage, because so many bands that I see out there, when they leave, like it's always on like bad terms. They're not friends after. Like it's like, I hate to say it, but it's almost more normal than just like, still being friends and being good musical partners with the former band. And I'm just dying to know again your perception, because you never stopped being friends with Killswitch Engage. When you left, you were still talking, you still going on tours. You did a song on their last record, The Signal Fire. So it's
Mhm.
just it's a breath of fresh air, honestly, in the rock scene, to see bands that have parted but like get along really well, honestly. But yeah,
Yeah,
from your perspective, like what's that like?
yeah. It's we never stopped being friends, and honestly, like the struggle was me. Just I was struggling with so many different things. So and I did not ask for help. So it's been kind of like uh I don't know, it was like an old man growing up at the same time. So how are you being old yet growing up? So I don't know, just like that's what happened. So I just kind of figured things out slowly but surely, and it's just and kind of relationships kind of got better because I've just learned to ask and accept when I'm struggling with things. So that changed a lot, and and just evolved. The thing is, they never stopped being friends. They've always been there. It's just like I think we just communicate better now because
Mm.
I don't hide from I don't hide from my friends as much anymore.
And I think again, like in retrospect, it was you left because of mental health reasons. So, as friends, they're not they're going to be. Oh, of course, we understand that. There's more of like an amicable, like, yes, no, we get it, because you're not leaving on like, oh, a lot of bands, it's like over. I wrote that song. No, I wrote that song. It's just because it was like based on something so much more, deep and profound.
That's, like I said, those guys have remained friends, and I still love being around them. That has never changed. And I guess what changes, I don't know. I got older and evolved a little bit, and figured out, hey, you can actually trust people, dude. It's cool.
Absolutely. Another thing I kind of wanted to talk about is, in the last few years, you've been very open about mental health and mental health struggles, and how to ask for help and when to ask for help. What I think is super cool is, you started to do that, and then I want to say maybe 2 years after you started, then the rock scene as a whole started to get, okay, yeah, let's get on board and like spread awareness for mental health. So it was almost kind of like you were I want to say at least one of the first voices to really vocalize, hey, it's okay not to be okay, kind of thing.
uh okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just where my life was at the moment, and I remember having just a conversation with Jamie Joss on his podcast, and we were discussing a bunch of stuff, and honestly, it just really being more open about how hard things were, and then just trying to take steps. It helped,
Yeah.
and here we are. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm doing music, let alone enjoying it. But yeah, yeah, I guess things are working to some extent.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think again, as fans of like the Torch, it's very comforting to hear, like that sort of stuff. Again, as open as you are with it, because it helps destigmatize it, and it's nice to have that. Um, Switching gears a bit, kind of going into a very different direction, I do want to ask you a little bit about Scion. Obviously, you had that super cool project with Jared, and that music came out, I think, about a year ago. Now, is there going to be new music on the way? Like, what's coming with that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, I think we released that song. I think it was only like 3 or 4 months ago now, something
Really?
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we started working on everything, put out one song, and um, yeah, it's another one where I demoed somewhere around 16 songs, and so we recorded it 12, and we're just tightening everything up, and hopefully hopefully we can get this finished sometime soon. But yeah, right now we're just tightening up all the songs and getting everything listenable. But yeah, we've got an album. So yeah, we're just cleaning it up.
It's on the way. It is on the way. Um, Something super cool is, how was it working with Garrett? I feel like that's such a cool experience. He's so prolific in the YouTube scene, which is really cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and that was kind of discussion number one. It's like, this has got to be fun no matter what.
Yeah.
If this isn't enjoyable, screw it. And he's all for that. And so it's just been fun. Yeah. And that's really what's taken up a majority of my time during this pandemic is I just stayed busy, which mentally helps me. It's go outside, see the sunrise, enjoy that, and then just bury myself in work for a while. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and like I said, hopefully we'll be able to just finish this all up. We're really itching to get it all tightened up and out to everyone. So
Definitely. Now I know that like Light the Torch is your main, your main band, but will
yes,
there be shows with Scion? Like, can we expect to see a live performance of these songs?
I don't know, but I could see that possibly happening. That'd be fun, but yeah, it's Light the Torch is Light the Torch is the main thing. So you know, if I can somehow make something work, and if an opportunity comes up and I can make it work, sure, I'd be into it. But yeah, haven't gotten that far yet. We're still trying to figure out touring on "You Will Be the Death of Me," which is out right now.
Yes. And what's super cool is about, switching gears back into "You'll Be the Death of Me." This record is getting a lot of like mainstream success from like, you look at like its numbers on Spotify, you look at like it's the number 3 hard rock album right now on the Billboard charts, which is awesome. It's crazy.
Cool.
How is it to like watch this record kind of really, really grow and get this popularity?
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch it. I I've been I'm still working out in the studio doing stuff, and then I leave and do a bunch of this and just keep plugging away. But if people are into it, I'm stoked. It's this was enjoyable difficulty. Difficulty. It was very. It was a draining. It was a draining time. Towards the end, I was like, please let this be over. I'm not kidding. We were in the studio. I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I need to go home. I need to sleep for about a week. I was basically living with my guitars, and just it was a lot, but worth it. Absolutely worth it, because the album feels the way that we were really trying to express. And so I'm really happy with how it turned out.
And that's such a great feeling that like, what you had the image you had in your head when you started writing is finally, when it's executed, it's the same image. Like, okay, this is the vibe that I wanted to get across.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how I knew when I started doing press, and there were direct comments about that. I'm like, oh wow, it worked. Cool. So I probably would have never known otherwise.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I absolutely love it. Another question that I kind of wanted to ask is, you've obviously been around for a lot of different projects, a lot of different cool music, and you've seen the music industry kind of grow in a lot of different ways. With like when you were in Killswitch, it was CD sales that were the main thing. It's how they measured records. Then it was iTunes, and then by the time you got into like the torch, now it's like Spotify streams. So how was it to kind of watch the music scene kind of almost like evolve every now and then?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's done, is evolve, and that's kind of what life is. And if you want something to stay the same, most likely it won't. So, yeah, the industry's just, it seems to constantly be changing, and just do our best to keep up with it. I don't know. I just kind of put my head down and keep working, and I have people in my camp that are much smarter than me when it comes to that, and know which way to steer. Because yeah, the whole thing was it was weird when Spotify and iTunes are just, all of a sudden it was just more than our physical product. So like,
Yeah.
what is this? And so yeah, you start asking questions, and then realize, okay, this is the way things are. It's like, okay, I don't trust you guys. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, and
Streaming does make
streaming.
it does make listening to your collection of music much easier. That I will say, or just
Have
whatever you're
everything.
thinking of. I'm going to listen to that right now.
You have everything at your fingertips, and even if you don't know what you want to listen to, you put on metal, and boom, there's like 10 million playlists of metal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, as much as I miss carrying just a notebook full of CDs. Just yeah, I that was the day, back when you actually had a CD player in your car. As much as
Yeah.
I miss that, I enjoy the stream.
Yeah. And I also think that I think that need for like that physical product, that physical album is always going to be there. I mean, you look at vinyls are having a huge resurgence, and it's just because
Yeah.
people want to own the record. They want to hold it in their own two
Oh yeah.
hands.
I do still like physical product. You can dive into it. It's when you're listening to the music and you're in the artwork and you're reading it. It's escapism. So that's a wonderful thing, and I hope it doesn't completely go away. But the handiness of streaming. What can you
Yeah.
say?
What can you do? So again, I want to thank you so much for talking to me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
guess my last question that I have to ask you is, when you finally do get on tour and you get to play these songs live, which track are you most excited for from the new record to play live?
Oh wow. Uh, I really don't know. Uh, Flip a coin.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know what our set's going to be, so I have no clue. Uh,
All
well, yeah,
good.
let's say living with a ghost.
Sounds good. It's actually in our A new category, playing at the top of almost every hour. So the listeners have been loving that one.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. All right. That worked out.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you as a radio DJ, but also as a fan of Light the Torch, Killswitch Engage, and the WNO. So thank you again.
I appreciate it, man. No problem.